Hey guys, welcome back to today's video. Today is Saturday, May 25th, 2019, and today we're going to be asking the major question as to whether or not Joe Biden is the best candidate for the 2020 election. Now, this is going to be based purely off polling data because a lot has yet to come. We have the first Democratic primary debate coming up in less than a month. Around a month, give or take a couple of days. And right now, I'm just going to be focusing purely on election data that we have right now. Looking at a number of these polls out, right now Biden is the top candidate in almost every single statewide poll, and there must be a reason for that. Today we're going to dissect all of the state polls, states from Florida to Pennsylvania to Arizona, and understand why Biden leads Donald Trump the most, or at all, compared to other Democrats who may be trailing Donald Trump or beating him, but just by a lesser amount. Now, the most recent poll comes from a Rasmussen Reports poll, which shows Warren versus Trump, which shows Warren ahead by 2%. I think that's a pretty good sign for Warren, considering that Rasmussen Reports tends to lean a little bit more to the right, and it shows those the Democrats ahead. But that's a 2-point lead. If we scroll down, we actually see a new Florida poll from Florida Atlantic University. Now, if we're looking at Joe Biden, right now he ties with Donald Trump. So far, I've given Florida consistently to Donald Trump in almost every single matchup between Biden, Sanders, Warren, Harris, Buttigieg, and the list continues because Trump has done very well here. Republicans have also done very well here, and the last time that it was pretty good for a Democrat would probably be 2012 when Barack Obama won here. I just combined the two. Won here by 0.3% in 2012. That was probably the last time it was really good for the Democrats here, and it really hasn't been better since. If you look at 2018, it should have been a time where the Democrats really should have done well here. They did not. Sure, they lost both of the races by less than 1%, but that still is a win for the GOP regardless. So another 6-year term and another 4-year term for the Senate and governor. That's just how it is for right now. But Trump is now tied with Biden here, whereas Sanders trails by 2, Warren trails by 4, Harris by 6, and Buttigieg by 4. Now, first things first, this poll really shines out to me because it doesn't have any undecided voters. If we're looking at it, it's always picking a side, and right now I think that's the best way of, making a poll as of right now, because yes, people can be undecided, but when it comes down to the polling booth, there's no undecided option. Sure, there's third-party candidates, but the only real viable options for the having a real chance at winning the presidency would be between these two. I think that's pretty good in terms of, I guess that's just how I personally would construct a poll. But right now, Biden is tied with Donald Trump in Florida. So first of all, Florida is a pretty much a toss-up state, the toss-up state to be exact, consistently, discussed in every single election season, especially since the year 2000. And now it's just gotten a lot more closer or a lot larger, depending on which way you're looking at it. Yes, a little bit more in favor of the GOP, but again, that was just the election that it was in. But Florida, since the year 2000, has consistently voted with the winner of the presidential election. That's not saying much considering it's only around 18 years. But again, only 4 elections. But actually, no, not 4 elections, 5 elections. But that's just how some things are. But Biden is probably doing better there, number one, because of his support amongst Democrats, the willingness of some independents and some Republican moderates to vote for Joe Biden over Donald Trump. And if we're looking at the overall state itself, the state itself definitely likes Biden a lot more. Right above it, if you look at the Democratic presidential primary poll, some of those Biden voters may not be too inclined to vote for someone like Sanders, but obviously would show full support for someone like Joe Biden. If you look there, Sanders and Warren are actually tied, which is really interesting to me. But yeah, this state definitely likes Biden a lot more in terms of the number one, general election polling and Democratic primary polling. But let's look at a state like not a state. We'll move down to the general election and then move on to the state of Pennsylvania. I'm looking at the general election right now. Biden leads Donald Trump by 11%, Sanders by 5, Warren by 2, Harris is a tie, and then Buttigieg loses to Trump by 1%. So this one actually does have some undecided voters, and it looks like Trump and Biden and Sanders are the only 3 names that are consistently known amongst all these polls. And if we're looking at it, Biden leading by 11% in a Fox News poll is a really, really good thing. Again, that could just be name recognition. No candidate in this poll has reached above 50%. And when it comes down to it, you know that the real results are probably going to be 49-46, 49-48. 51-49. You know how the usual elections end up. But Biden pretty much has been leading nationwide, number one, of how well he's known, and his overall support amongst independents and moderate Republicans, which is really, really interesting. If we look down at the state of Pennsylvania, keep in mind Biden was born in the state of Pennsylvania. He was raised here, so this does make sense. But he leads Trump by larger than Sanders, Warren, Harris, Buttigieg, and O'Rourke. Now, again, Biden leading by 11%. That's a double-digit lead in a state that Donald Trump won back in 2016. Again, polling isn't always an accurate indication of who wins the election, as 2016 can show you, but it's still something to show that Biden is leading by larger than Sanders, Warren, and everyone else. Again, could just be the home state factor, but also Pennsylvania, a shining star for the white working class, if we're looking at it like that. And Sanders is consistently out there, and as he was in 2016. Hillary Clinton did win this state in the Democratic primary, and it looks like Biden is going to win this one as well. Looking at the poll right above it, which was Biden leading by 26. But if we're looking at the people that talked about Sanders saying that he had an amazing appeal to the white working class, well, it looks like Biden might just have a larger appeal. Again, general election poll, Biden and Sanders are around the same here, but we're going to go ahead and look at some other data. Now, the state of Arizona, if we look at this, from OH Predictive Insights, Biden is the only candidate out of any of the Democrats tested that beats Donald Trump. Sanders loses by 9, Warren loses by 5, Harris by 9, Buttigieg by 9, and O'Rourke by 6. Biden wins by 5. That's absolutely insane. The complete turnaround in terms of Democratic support. Biden is up there at 49% compared to Trump's 44%. This could be a fluke poll, but it definitely shows some interesting results that all the other Democrats are losing to Trump in the state of Arizona, except for Joe Biden. So again, that can make another argument as to him being the stronger Democratic candidate for the general election. Same argument was made for Hillary Clinton, but that did not seem to turn out to be true. Or, we never know, because Bernie was not the nominee in 2016, so that election never occurred. But it's just really interesting looking at Biden leading here by 5% and every other Democrat not. Again, it could just be the area, but again, if we're looking at this is not a pretty good predictor for a number of these Democrats that want to win the nomination. If we look at the CNN poll, Sanders and Biden are around the same nationwide. Let's go ahead and see if we can find something else. So, Texas, Trump is losing to Biden in the state of Texas, which is absolutely insane. I've never seen that coming, to be completely honest with you. Biden does lead in the Democratic primary, very close to O'Rourke, and then Sanders comes in third place. But Texas right now, it's astonishing that Biden would actually be able to beat Donald Trump according to this Emerson poll. Emerson is not too accurate in their data, but still, the fact that the Democratic candidate could actually have close enough to an edge over Donald Trump, even if it was off by 3-4%, is absolutely insane. Biden, of course, is doing the best out of all the Democrats, as we've seen, with a consistent trend, and you can just see that here. Sanders loses by 2, Harris by 8, Buttigieg by 8, and Warren by 6, and Biden wins by 1. So again, something to note as well, and you can make the argument about electability there as too. It doesn't show past that, but if I just go to all election polls, I probably could be able to find some other things there. But again, general election here, Emerson poll, again, not super accurate. Again, PPP, Biden 13, Sanders 8. Nevada, again, another state to look at. Nevada, Biden leads by 4. Then all the other Democrats lose to Donald Trump. Sanders by 2, Harris by 2, Warren by 8, and Buttigieg by 4. Now, again, that could just be the poll, and again, it is Emerson, so it's not the most accurate, but it's still something to show in favor of Biden. I'm not going to completely discredit the poll 100% and just ignore it, but it is something to note, and that's just all 2018 data. So, goes back to the major point. Biden does lead nationwide over every other Democrat by 17%, actually above Bernie Sanders by 17%, and then the rest of them by larger amounts. But again, the question of electability does come into play, and Biden definitely can turn to these numbers and show that he would have the best chance against Donald Trump. Now, right now, looking at these numbers, it would seem like Biden would win. I mean, he's winning in Texas, Nevada, New Hampshire, Iowa, South Carolina, just a number of these other states. It looks like Biden is going to do very well here. Now, again, things definitely can change, but as of right now, it does seem like Biden is the most electable candidate. I get it. The same argument was made for Hillary Clinton back in 2016, and we use the same numbers to argue that, but I'm just saying based off the only election data that we have right now, Biden does seem like he is the most electable candidate for the Democratic Party. And as many people hate to admit, The Democratic Party needs a candidate who can beat Trump. It doesn't seem like they can focus too much on issues right now, because if they're so focused on getting Donald Trump out, they're definitely going to try to focus on a candidate like Bernie Sanders or Joe Biden to be their Democratic nom, because they're probably not going to be pushing for too many things to be changing within the Democratic Party and on a nationwide scale in terms of healthcare, campaign finance reform, things like that, and probably going to focus more on just getting someone like Biden, Sanders, Warren into office. So that wraps up today's video. Thank you guys for watching this video. Comment down suggestions below, and I will see you all tomorrow.